Evening. It is Wednesday, hump day evening. I have a lovely lady who sent me a private message, Sue R., who said to me that she was brand new in resin, and by any chance did I have any step-by-step beginner's tutorials? And I realized I don't. So this is for her and for anyone else who is just beginning. So if you are one of my followers, one of my customers, one of my dear friends, you may want to skip this, or if you just want to watch and have some fun with me, please do. This is probably going to be a little longer than most videos because I am going to do this step by step. So, Sue, this is for you. So here's the thing. Resin is a extremely wonderful, wonderful art form. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, it's to each his own. I'm not going to tell you you have to use my resin, you have to use my pigments, blah, blah, blah. You will find what resin works for you, which you're comfortable with. You will find what pigments you like. And when you are a beginner, you may not even want to spend a bunch of money on pigments and whatever. You can use acrylic paint. You can use nail polish. The difference is that none of those are made for resin, so the colors won't be, and a million people will tell you, oh yes they are. The colors will not be as vibrant. They're just not. And that's just a fact. Products that are made for resin so that they work with your resin. So I'm going to start you off with the basics. First of all, you buy your resin. Second, you buy your pigments. Third, you buy your safety equipment. Now, when you watch my videos, you will see the only safety equipment that I am using are my nitro gloves. Okay? I get them in bulk at Costco. Nope. Yes, is that, looks like it's backwards to me, but it probably is right to you, right? These are the gloves that you need, okay? They will protect you from chemicals, because you've got to remember, resins are a chemical. And a lot of the new resins, including mine, are made as safe as they possibly can be, but they are still a chemical, okay? These have passed, my resin, quite a few resins have passed food and safety in each government or each state in the United States. But that doesn't mean that they are 100% food safe. And the minute you add a colorant to it, whether it be acrylic or resin pigments or anything like that, it changes the makeup of your product, and that now becomes not food safe. That being said, when I do, because I know you want to do cutting boards and stuff, when I do my cutting boards and stuff, you will notice I will do two different kinds of things. I will do either a serving tray where the whole piece is colored with acrylic, with resin, and it is a serving tray. You can put your drinks on it, you can put plates of food on it. It is a serving tray. Some of them have handles, some of them don't, whatever. The cutting boards that I do, or bread servers that I do, that I only do half resin, all come with the card that tells you, don't cut on the resin. And if you're going to have any food on that part, because I'll leave a whole section that's just treated with food safe cutting board oil or paste. The section that is resin, I only suggest, this is just me, personal opinion. I always suggest fast food, snacks that are going to be picked up and eaten as quickly as they're put down. I would not really trust 100%, you know, having cake or something sitting on it that's going to sit there for hours, or, you know, or take that and put it in the cupboard and it will be there for days. No, I don't suggest that, but it's all personal taste. Okay, so that being said, there's your gloves. This is the mask that I use if I'm going to be working with resin for a long period of time. I have my mask. And yeah, this is gonna be fun, but okay, you get it, right? I got it on backwards, upside down anyway. You get it. Covers my nose and my mouth. These are filters that get taken out and new filters put in on a regular basis, okay? If you're going to use resin for a long period of time. And I have goggles. Now, I'll be honest, these are hard for me to use because I wear glasses. So most of the time, I don't wear the goggles, okay? Because they just are not comfortable, nor are they sealed. So what's the point if they're not going to be sealed? Okay? If anybody knows of a pair of goggles that you can put over your glasses that still seals, let me know. But you've seen me. I don't work with my resin for long periods of time. My videos are my videos. That's it. Also, if you can work in a well-ventilated room, do. In this room, I am in my basement, but we're above ground. So my windows are large, and there's 2 in this room and 2 in the next room. Have a well-ventilated room. If you're doing it in the winter and you can't have your window open, come up with, if you're in a smaller area, some venting system, if you can. I've seen people posting their ventilated systems on Facebook, so look around. Okay, that's your safety, okay? That's your first off important stuff. Now, when you're first starting out, like I said, get your resin, get whatever you're going to use for colorants, pigments, or acrylic, whatever, have it all ready. Have what you need where you need it, okay? So you're not running all over the place. What I like to do, I like working on boards way more than I do canvases, but I have used canvases. If you're going to use a canvas and it's a large canvas, resin weighs quite a bit when it's cured. So a good trick is, if this was canvas, take a thin layer of resin, put it on the back of your canvas, the whole thing, not the border, but the whole working area of your canvas. Let that cure, 12 hours, whatever your resin says. Cure to touch, okay, which is 12 hours. Total curing period, every resin's different. Mine is cured to touch in less than 12 hours. Artworks resin is less than 12 hours, but cured totally before you can use it for coasters or whatever, before you want anybody to be putting things on it, I would leave it to 72 hours or longer. I know there are other resins in the States that take even longer to cure completely. So just read your resin, look it up, read it before you buy it. So I like using wood. And like I said, if you were doing a canvas, do a thin layer on the back, then it becomes a solid, and you're not going to have the resin sinking in the middle. But I like to use wood. But with wood or come on down. Canvas or anything, good rule of thumb, excuse me, tape the back. Some of my wood pieces, my thicker wood, wood boards and stuff, I don't always tape the back because I can sand that right off. But good rule of thumb, and I'm just going to do this really quickly because this is just going to be a test or a learning piece. This is not something that I will be putting in my shop to sell or taking to the gallery, so I'm just doing this quickly so I'm not taking up all your time. So tape your back, do a better job than I am, taping right to the edge. And what you can also do is as soon as it's cured to touch, then take the tape off right then and there. Sometimes if you leave the tape on the whole time, it's not easy to get off. Okay? So then what I would do is, because you don't want that to hold the resin up, or you'll have this nice, once it's cured, it will have a ridge of resin. I trim off the excess. You know what? You're going to look at this video and you're going to say, oh my God, that's all overwhelming. It's not. Once you get doing it step by step, and you're going to miss a few steps and you're going to add a few steps of your own and whatever, it's going to become like second nature, and you just do it. Trust me. Okay? It's not complicated. Mostly at the beginning. Okay, so now get yourself something to put your piece on, because you want it up so that the resin drips off, and it's not, if you were doing it flat surface, that resin would flow over the side and dry like that, and you won't get that off. Put it up like this. Then what you want to do is you want to level. Make sure it's really level, okay? I know you can't see that, but it's almost perfectly level. I went out and got a new table because my table was a piece of crap. This table is fabulous. The legs are adjustable. It was easy to resin. What you can do in most cases with my resin, I don't have to. But other resins, it is good to prep your wood, okay? And in that case, what I mean by that is you can spray paint a base color, a couple of layers, okay? Or what I like to use on other woods and stuff when I even still do it sometimes. Even though my resin doesn't give bubbles, it's still, the wood can still breathe sometimes. So what I like is I use polyacrylic by Minwax. You can get it at any of the hardware stores. It's clear. It dries on clear, but it seals your wood. So do both sides and along the edge if you've got a resin that's known to bubble, okay? So there you go. Now, get your colors, get everything you need ready. Get your cups for mixing, okay, your colors, and get a measuring cup. This one's old, I just ordered a bunch of new ones. I like using silicone. They're reusable, no waste, and when the resin is dry, it peels right out, okay? So they're reusable over and over, but then sometimes you just get busy and don't remember to peel it out, and you just pour in another bunch and it just builds up, which this little cup has, and it's my smallest one, so, but I just ordered a bunch more. Okay, so we are going to, my resin is a 2-to-1, okay, so 2 1 part of the hardener and 2 parts of the resin. And I did, sorry guys, I do up a chart that goes out with all my resin, and it has the measurements on it, okay? So I would say I would not need more than probably 6 ounces for this. I may not even need that, but I can always, if you mix up more resin than you need, get yourself some little coasters that you can pour the rest on and make a set, or get yourself some beautiful molds and use them in the molds, and then you'll end up with pieces you can use in another piece, you know, like these cute little owls or the moon or these beautiful etched hummingbirds or this cute little geode coaster. You can just do that, and that's what I do. And then I make up my own molds too. I made molds out of what is it? Mold Star. Mold Star? Yeah, Mold Star 30. And I can make up my own molds and stuff that I'm going to use in other pieces. So there's that. So you're not wasting. Okay, so I want 6 ounces. So it's 2 to 1. So it's 2 ounces of the hardener. Okay. And then 4 ounces of the resin. This resin is an art resin. It's not a casting resin. So when you're mixing it up, it doesn't look perfectly clear like casting resins, but it goes perfectly clear when it is poured. Okay, so now get yourself some popsicle sticks or tongue depressors, and these become great stir sticks. And you don't have to throw them out if you don't want to. If you don't want to waste, you can let the resin cure on the stick and just use it again. Once resin's cured, it's not going to leak out in resin again, so you don't have to worry about it. So I gave my resin a good stir. My resin, a lot of resins, honey, read, because it's about 3 to 5 minutes of stir time, but my resin doesn't have those bubbles. It's also a thinner resin, so it doesn't need that long of a stir time. But you want to make sure in any resin you get, you scrape the sides, you scrape the bottom, because you're trying to transfer the 2 parts together. You don't want any of one part just sitting around, or it won't cure properly. Take your stick, do the same thing with your stick, and then give it another little stir. So there we go. Now tonight we're going to use my pigments, my tints. This is my winter white, and it's going to be my base color. You always start with a nice base color, whatever you want. Doesn't have to be white, doesn't have to be black, whatever color you want. Going to start with white. We are going to use the Hosta Teal. And if you're first starting out, I wouldn't use a lot of different colors because it's hard to keep them from blending, okay? So I'm going to do my best to show you how you can keep them from blending and show you how you can blend them and make different colors. This is Purple Iris. And now we're going to use one of these are tints. We're going to use one of my metallics. This is Goldenrod. This will be our accent color, okay? So you take, and that's another thing, sweetie. Try your very hardest not to use more than 10%, 10 or 11% of pigment color to your resin, okay? Because if you have more than 10, 11% in there with your resin, it will turn like marshmallow and you won't be able to use it. I've had that happen once. Okay, so gold is my accent color, so I don't need a lot of that. So I just did a little bit of it. Stir really good, mostly if it's a powder. You want to stir really, really good because you don't want any lumps. Okay? And there is our goldenrod. This is our purple iris, and it's a tint, so I don't worry about lumps. I just want to make sure that all the resin is completely opaque. My tints are opaque. There are tints out there that are transparent. You can make any color transparent just by using a very little bit of it. Like, okay, for example, look. If I just stirred in that little bit of the green, it's kind of a transparent color. But then the minute I stir it even more, because I put more in here, there's your opaque. Okay? So you can make any color transparent just by using very little of it. But it's not as easy to make a transparent color opaque. You'd need a lot. Okay. The last thing to stir up is our base color, and it's white. Like I said, you can use any color for your base color that you want. Remember, this is all your work. You use what you want. You pick the colors you want. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks that I do. I will flip my cup over while I'm stirring to get the resin out. And I flip it up onto my board. Then I take my heat gun, your two best tools, a heat gun and a torch. And I heat up the inside, not too close, just enough to make my resin drip out. Then there's not so much wasted in the cup. There's still be resin in the cup. I'd have to stand here for hours doing this to get it all out, but I'm not going to. Then just spread this around. Okay? Okay. Now, we are going to start with the white. And this is my base coat. It's going to be the entire piece. If this was a piece I was concerned about, I'd be worried about doing my edges. Okay, hon? Do your edges. Okay, there's a little chunk of hard resin in there. Do your edges. I'm not too worried if this one, because this is just a teaching tool. But you will want to make sure your edges are covered. Do your edges. There are so many different, this is just beginner, okay? Because there are so many different ways people do this. Some people tape the edges so that then when the piece is cured, they can go over and paint the edges in a different color. You know, there's so many different ways. You watch different videos as you go along. You're going to learn new techniques from everybody. You know, and that's the whole idea, is that we share. That's why we do videos. We're sharing what we've learned, well, you'll notice with my videos, I experiment a lot, and I do it right on cam. So if it's gonna screw up, you're gonna see it. And you know what? Then at least you know not to do what I just did. Okay, so now's where you can come up with your designs. Okay? I'm going to do, let's do a puddle pour. Gonna put some green in there. This is just like an acrylic puddle pour, but we're doing it with resin. You will see if you do acrylic, you will see there is a difference. Resin wants to do its own thing. I'm gonna save the gold for last because like I said, I want it to be our accent color. So I'm just gonna have fun with this. Oh, look at that big piece of, told you the cup was old. Needed a new one. Look at that great big piece of dried resin. Okay, where were we? Purple. Okay, there we go. Now, I could, if I wanted to, I could do just like they do with acrylic. But like I said, this is resin, so it doesn't do exactly what acrylic does, you know? Resin has a mind of its own. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is always have some paper towel, hon. I have a table right beside. Most of the people here have seen my stuff. It's in my videos, but I didn't share. I have paper towel handy all the time, and 99% alcohol that I got at Costco in a group of 4, and I wipe my hands before I grab my tools, because once they get all sticky with resin, they can stop working. This is like my 4th heat gun. Now, I'm going to heat this up. And I'm going to try moving it around a bit. And this is where you get your different colors blending together. This is where you get lacing with my white as a base color. With a lot of different whites and blacks, they can cause lacing. Tints are very good at giving lacing. Okay, now I did mix this up a little bit too much, probably used way too much resin, but you're getting the idea of what you can do, how you start off. I'm gonna pour, I know, you're like, oh my God, look at the resin she's wasting, but I'll pick that up after and pour it into one of my molds. Okay, so there, you know what? I'm gonna leave it at that, because I think that's kind of cool. I moved it around and blended the colors, so now we've got the purple, and we've still got the green, which is hosta teal, and obviously the white. But then where they're blending together, oh, look at that. Where they're blending together, we're getting lacing, we're getting different shades of the purple, we're getting different shades of the teal, the whites changing their color as well. This is what happens with resin. It is awesome. Okay, so now I'll show you what you can do with your torch. If this was another resin, you would see bubbles, okay? But as you can see with mine, there are no bubbles. I know it's kind of hard to see from up there, but those who've used it will tell you. There are no bubbles, so I don't need the torch to burst bubbles. But what I like to do is accent with some gold or silver or whatever color you want. Just add it where you want it. Now you can heat this, okay? Heat the gold and it will spread it out. But you're taking the chance you're going to move everything else all over the place. So this is where I take my torch and I move the gold. And it basically just moves the gold. And the gold does a couple of things for me, depending on the gold that I'm using. This gold feathers out. This goldenrod feathers out. I have beautiful gold by Artie Sue that I use, and it gives me beautiful threads when I heat it up. It separates, and the shimmer goes to the bottom, and this striking gold thread comes to the top. So, like I said, you're going to find different things happen with different colors. And you just experiment, hon. And the good thing about resin, sweetie, is that, let's say it was a total fail. Let's say this piece turned out garbage. I'd be upset. I'd be upset that there was waste. But you know what? You let it cure, and you can go right over top as if this never happened. Or if you like certain parts of it, like I love this area right here with the lacing, I'd keep that, put a clear over that, and color the rest when it's cured with more resin. There is so much you can do with resin, and you'll learn and you'll have fun. Look, this is something else I brought, and yeah, I think I'm gonna, you can add, for some glam, you can add, if you wanted to, some glitter. Wouldn't go nuts with it, but add some glitter. Or you can add, I have beautiful colored glass that I get here in Canada, and you can add some colored glass for effect, for some bling in your piece. I just added some teal there, and we'll add some purple over here in the purple. You know, there's so much you can do. So, sweetie, the only real good advice, other than everything you just got told, watch videos. Watch mine, there are tons of videos out there on YouTube, and you will learn. Experiment, have fun. You will learn as you grow, and it'll come to you. You may screw up the first time, the second time, the third time, and then do freaking awesome. And then you can have a piece. Oh, do you know how many times I still fail? I get this idea in my head, and I think, oh my God, that would be fabulous, go to do it, and either I'm too anxious, or I'm not patient, or whatever, and it just doesn't work out for me. And it's like, okay, well, that was a fail, and you guys see most of them. Because even if I don't do it on a video, I will post it on Facebook. This was a fail, this is why I think it failed, but I learned from it, right? So there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Have fun with it, sweetie. And I hope this did help. And thank you for making me realize I hadn't done a step-by-step tutorial. And have a great evening. Bye for now, guys.